This is the Tech Tuesday for Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. I am John Morris with the Associated Builders and Contractors Ohio Valley chapter. Very excited to be presenting with Stack Technologies, Stack Construction Technologies today. From project evaluation, takeoff estimating, construction closeout, contractors are using Stack's cloud-based software to help run their businesses, maximize profits. And we've got David Wagner and Jack Hills with us today. They're going to be doing the presenting. And what's exciting about this product is, I get calls all the time. Hey, can you help me find an estimator? Well, the easiest way to find a new estimator is to become more efficient with the current estimating process you use now. And so an investment in Stack Technologies can save considerable amount of time, streamline what you do, and essentially get you a free estimator. So we're very excited about getting them here to present today. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Mr. David Wagner. David, it's all yours.
Well, thank you very much. So what we thought we'd do today is go through just a few slides and talk a little bit about who is Stack, to give you a framework, and then I will pass over the screen to Jack, and Jack's going to take you through a demonstration of our takeoff and estimating product. So with that said, let's get started. And who's Stack? Well, Stack was started in 2015 as a 25-person firm building the first 100% cloud-based takeoff tool in the market. Stack was built by subcontractors for subcontractors. And over the last 8 years, we've grown to be a 180-person organization supporting customers across most of North America. Today, we have approximately 7,000 paying customers and over 70,000 people using the solution for free. And more recently, we've acquired 2 companies in the construction space, which we'll talk a little bit more about in the future. So, as previously mentioned, our roots are in takeoff and estimating. Prior to using Stack, most of our current customers were using manual processes and/or disconnected applications to create takeoffs. Paper plans, rulers, colored pencils, Excel were the standards, spending hours counting and measuring and then having to enter this data into a spreadsheet or other applications. With Stack, they spend less time estimating and more time delivering projects and generating revenue. Stack was also built to help customers with a history of either overbidding and never winning or underbidding and then losing money on the job. So Stack created bids are incredibly accurate, resulting in more profitable projects regardless of the size, the scope, or the locations. Stack also provides confidence throughout the project lifecycle, limiting surprises and driving predictable outcomes. So our primary customers, as I mentioned, are subcontractors, who arguably have the most significant impact on the successful delivery of commercial projects, but we also have a strong customer base within the general contractor community as well. From a subcontractor perspective, we support almost all major trades, with our sweet spots being in interiors, roofing, site work. But Stack is no longer just about supporting pre-construction. Today, Stack is built for both pre-construction and construction activities. While Stack's pre-construction solutions save time in the bid process and ensure accurate estimates are submitted with confidence, the Stack construction solutions manage critical details during the build and enable real-time field and office collaboration, reducing risk throughout the project lifecycle. Every Stack solution is cloud-based and accessible anytime, anywhere, on any device. So what is Stack for pre-construction? A little more detail. In a nutshell, it allows estimating teams to do takeoffs, estimate, and quote projects quickly and easily, helping to build more jobs and increase their revenue. So Jack is going to show you this in much more detail, but in short, this includes project document uploading, searching, viewing, and markup. It provides optimized takeoff for quick measurements and item counts. And it provides material and labor estimate assignments using real-time integrated pricing for item and assemblies. All the while collaborating in real time and having total project visibility. Our pre-construction solution also includes integration with leading cost databases to ensure customers have access to the latest industry pricing data. Stack for Construction offers simple and flexible collaborative platform for document management and construction management. This includes a centralized structure for managing your plans and documents, ensuring everyone is working from the latest documents, helping to reduce errors and rework. Stack is cloud-based and mobile for improved productivity and collaboration between the office and the field. Using iOS, Android, and Windows devices, we can enable viewing, panning, zooming, marking up, comparing, and sharing of all your project plans wherever you need them. Stack also helps manage core construction processes like RFIs, submittals, issue management, daily reports, and planning and scheduling of equipment on your project workforce. And lastly, users can track progress using simple configured workflows to alert delays, enforce accountability, and manage exceptions. We also believe we are unique in the experience we provide our customers. We're incredibly easy to use, create trust in our service and support teams, and regularly drive new value through our consistent release of new features and updates. That's what makes us unique. We also understand the value of our clients' technology stack and the importance of sharing our data as necessary with other business applications. Our cloud solutions include an open API allowing me to map and share data between technology solutions. Here are a few of just our SaaS partners. Also, as a cloud product, we are committed to providing the required data segregation, authentication, authorizations, and controlled data residency to ensure our customers and their data are safe and secure. So with that said, let's turn it over to Jack, and he's going to give you a more detailed demonstration of exactly how our takeoff and estimating tool works.
All right, thank you, Dave. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a project today where I'm going to upload it. I'll do some measurements and I'll show you how we can take those measurements all the way into a proposal. So this is Stack. What you can see here, as David mentioned, we're 100% cloud-based. So I can access this from any device. I'm just logging in through my browser. I'll have all my projects listed here. We're going to have unlimited storage on all of our subscriptions, so you can do as much as you need. You'll notice I have a few different job statuses on some of my projects here, as well as a few other names. So we're going to be great for collaboration. You can assign projects out to team members. You can work on them at the same time, and you can keep yourself organized through these different statuses. I'm also going to have a calendar here for my bids, furthering that, keeping ourselves organized. But to get started, I'm just going to click New Project. And for today, I'll just call this ABC. But I'm going to select my bid date, which we'll call it the 30th. I'm going to select the team members involved. And I'm going to select my status here. So we'll say we're bidding it. And I'm going to hit Create and Launch. So today I'll just go in and I'll pull a file from my computer, but we are going to be capable of linking to any of your shared drives, so you can pull that information directly in without having to do manual downloads. To get started, I'll just hit choose a local file, and I'm going to go in here and I will upload a small library project for today's example. And the first thing that I'm going to do when I put my PDF in here is it will go through a quick scan. This scan is going to automatically name the pages in the set. It's also going to make all of the text searchable, and it is going to hyperlink details and callouts. And I'd like to call attention to my 4 tabs up at the top left. Within each project, we're living between these 4 tabs. So plans is where I can do any type of document management, where I could upload new versions. I could break these out into folders, and I could also search for text. So for right now, I'm going to put in spec, and it's going through the document. It's showing me how many times that occurs on each page. And then it's actually highlighting that word for me. And then you'll also notice the blue boxes up here. These are going to be those hyperlinks I referred to. So as it scanned the document, it found these pages and linked them for us. So let's say I want to go into our enlarged floor plan here. I can click that. It'll pull that up for me. And then I'll just click the open selected and I'll get a working view here. And this is where I'm going to go to my next tab, which will be my takeoffs tab here. And anytime we're doing any counting or measuring, we go here. So today I'm just going to start a takeoff template from scratch. We can save libraries of templates so that you're not doing this on each job, where you could just go in and pull from any of your existing items in your library. But to get started, let's say we're going to do the walls in here. We want to put some floor or some framing and some drywall on here. I'm going to hit new takeoff. And you'll see that we have a variety of different measurement types. So whether it's just standard quick square footages and lineal footages, we could get that. We can get all your counts. And then we're going to have options to include factors like pitch, wall height, or concrete volume. So for right now, we're going to call this a linear measurement. And I'm going to call this walls, and we'll say 5/8 drywall with 20 gauge frame. And then I'll hit create takeoff. And in this case, I'm just going to measure to get started, but I could assign my materials before or after, but we'll come back to that. And now really I'm just treating it like a highlighter. I'm going to go in and set a color that I'd like. And then I'm going to hit start measuring. So this is where we have two options. If we trust the architect and we trust the file, I could go in and I could just choose my scale here from my drop down. But to be safe, I'm going to manually calibrate it. So I'll tell the system that I know that this line is 9 feet and 2 inches. And I'm just going to measure that for reference. So I'll click once to get started. If I hit shift, it's going to keep my line straight. And then I'll just double click to finish there. And you can see we're looking like we're right around the 1/2 inch there. But to double check, I'm going to hit my dimension line tool. And I'm going to draw this out, make sure we're good there. So you don't have to do that every time, but I like to be thorough. So now we know our scale is set and we're good to go. I'm going to go back to my takeoff. I'm going to hit start measuring. And now it's just going to be a very simple system where I'll just point to click. So a single click will get me started. And then I'm just moving my mouse around to go down here. And I could actually keep my line straight by tapping shift. And I'm just going to click once every time I turn. So I could go right around here. And if I want to finish my measurement, I'll double click. If I want to get started again, I'll just click once. And I'm just going right through here. So we'll keep going. I'm not going to do every single wall, but it's a very simple system, just pointing to click. And as we do this, it's totaling all of our information. So for right now, we'll end it about there. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to put a little legend box on here that's going to keep my total as I go. And now I've just got a lineal footage. So I don't have my studs. I don't have any cost data or anything attached. What I'm going to do for that is I'm going to go back into my takeoff. and I'm going to click this button for items and assemblies, as we call that. The way to think of the items and assemblies are that an item is any individual unit of material, labor, or equipment. And then the assembly is going to be combinations of those items that we can put Excel logic to. We're going to have pre-built catalogs, ones that are a little more simplified. If you'd like to bid like maybe a general where you're just getting sort of the big picture information. And then we have more dialed in assemblies where you could get things like crew hours and input production rates. For today, I'm just going to go in. I'm going to use one that's pretty simple in my finishes catalog. I'll go to my framing, drywall, and insulation. And then I'm just going to tell the system what type it is. So for this, we're going to say we've got a metal frame with drywall and insulation. And I'm going to hit add one assembly. Oh, and I'm sorry, I clicked too fast here and shows a deduction. So I'm going to remove that real quick. Bear with me here. And you can see as I'm scrolling through, we've got quite a bit in the catalog here. You get access to all of this. And then I've just got a couple of questions. So I mentioned at the beginning, we could template all of this, and we do train you on how to use this. But for today, I'm just going to go in, I'm going to plug some info in, like my wall height. It's asking me for how many plates we're going to have at the top and bottom, which in this case, we'll do a metal frame. So we'll say 2 for the track. And we're going to call this. And then I'm just choosing my material down below. So I can go in here and I'll say we've got our 20 gauge studs, 16 on center. I'm going to ignore my wood frame since we're using that 20 gauge. But then I'm going to go in and I'm going to say I've got a 5/8 drywall. I'm going to call my insulation is we'll say we've got foil backed R14. And then since it looks like where I'm at, we've got some restrooms. For good measure, I'm going to add on water resistance. And then I'm going to put on an option for taping. And you'll see that I have a few options. One that says minimum, one that says average, and one that says maximum. So total of the rating suggestion, we'd choose the average. And then I'll hit save here. And now that I've done that, I'm going to have more than just a measurement total. I'm going to be able to pull cost data on it. So I'll go to my reports tab here. And I'll have a few reports that are going to relate just to those measurements. So if I wanted to go in, I wanted to see my individual sections, I'll have those broken out here. And then down below, I'm going to have different item lists. So right now I've got it broken by material and labor. And you see we've got some square footage totals there. That's just from the assembly that I used. I want to price this per square foot. But if we wanted piece counts or hours, we could do that just as easily. And with Stack, we know that every company's process is different. For some of our customers, they just need the quick measurement. And for others, they want to go all the way to the proposal. We try to accommodate any process. So if you do want this to be an endpoint where you export your information to an Excel or CSV, you'll have the option to do so. But then we're also going to have some estimating options here. So I'm going to click my estimates tab. And for this, I'm going to choose my material and labor estimate. And it's going to default to a summary page here, which right now this is pretty bare bones because I haven't added any cost. But if I go to my worksheet here, I'm going to be able to start putting numbers to these. Right now, everything I've got just has a saved cost of 0. We could have costs saved in here, or we could just plug it in each job. But what we are very excited about was our integration with BNI for these recommended material and labor costs. So what I could do is I could go in and I could say get estimate costs, and we're going to have over 600 regions in here to choose from. But for right now, I'll just go in, I'll put the US average. And when I hit update, it's going to go in, and based on the area I've put in, it will give me a recommended labor, material, and equipment, if applicable, cost here. So we're showing right now we've got some cost in there, and I could use that, or I could just go in, sort of plug my own number if I wanted to. And I could also add in line item markups or waste percentages. So maybe I want to mark up the insulation 20% on the labor. The drywall labor, I want to mark it up 15%. And then for all my material, I just want a blanket markup of 10. I've already got this 10 set as a default in my account. But again, you're not tied to that. You plug in whatever you want. And you'll see that as I'm doing this, it's tracking with my profit up here. So it's taking all that markup and then it's tracking to see how this is going to total out. And I'm going to have options for non-measured costs for anything that we didn't do a takeoff on, but we need to account for. Maybe that is rentals, permits, lunches for the guys, whatever it is. You could save different item sets here to add to each project, or we could just plug them on, and maybe I'll say mobilization fees, and we'll call it 500. And then we'll say we just want some additional rental equipment. We'll call it 10 days with $100 a day. And I'm going to keep going. I'll put a markup there. Then I'm going to have all my other options for the back end. Obviously, we need to account for our overhead. So I'll plug in, we'll call it 15% today. And right now I'm tracking with about a 7.5% profit. So obviously we're probably not going to be in business too long with that number there. So we'll just throw on another blanket markup here of 35%. Now we're up a little healthier in the profit range. So what I'm going to do is I'll throw on my tax information, which I'm just going to use my Ohio number here. And now that I've done this, when I go back to that summary page, I'm going to have a little more insight. So I've got my labor, my material broken out, showing me how much overhead is going into each, how much markups coming from each, and then how much profit is coming from those. And I've also got a nice little tool here where I can just double check my progress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the system that I know this is, we'll call it a 1,000 square feet job. Based on my current numbers, I'm selling it for 14 and I'm making about 454 in profit per square foot. So there's some tools in there, just making sure you're bidding accurately and you're not letting anything to get away from you. And we could do multiple different versions of the estimate throughout the different design phases, or if we have revisions or change orders, we could keep going and just create new ones. And then the final deliverable in here, we're going to have a few different options. So a lot of our customers use QuickBooks, which we're going to have a QuickBooks Online integration where you could link your account and just press that button to send it over. We're going to be able to produce an Excel sheet of anything we do in here. And then we're also going to be able to build a PDF proposal. So you'll have your company logo in, which today I'm just going to use my fake little concrete company, add that on. You could save a list of your clients that you work with, or you could plug their information on each job. Today I'll pull one from my list. And then it's going to be the same thing for our scope and our terms. So if I wanted to save a list of different scope templates, you could add those on here. Today, I'm just going to keep it real generic, and I will say we will remove existing partitions and install new 20 gauge frame in the following areas. For my terms, I'll pull on a saved term sheet that I have here, and I'm going to hit save and close. Then if we want to go in and just total everything up, we could do so, or we could include some level of detail. For right now, I'm just going to organize it by my takeoff name. But if we wanted custom labels for maybe trade division, phase, location, or anything like that, we would be able to do so. And today I'll include a list of my line items just for good measure, and I'll hit download. And it's going to get me to something like this. So I could go in and then I could just print this off as a PDF, which today I've got my terms, my scope broken out, as well as this additional list. But again, this is totally optional if we show it, but we just download that as a PDF. And then let's say, I don't want to use that. I've got my own bid form or my own Excel sheet that I've spent a lot of time on. If I go back to my reports tab here, I'm going to have a new section that's going to say material and labor estimate. And we could print off any information we had done in the takeoff, and we could actually get very granular here. So if you wanted to know down to the gross margin per nail on the project, you can do so. We're going to be equipped to help you with that. Or we could just sort of get out the general measurement totals, hit this to an Excel. And probably the last thing I would do in the project, so we've also got some drawings management and some field management tools that we're going to talk about at a later date. But maybe I just want to get these takeoffs out to the field. If I hit my share button here, I could give this to a supplier, a contractor, or anyone internally, and they'd be able to see the plans in the field, any of the takeoff information, but no cost data there. So that's an option to get those out, or we could just print this off as a PDF. And then probably the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my home page here, and I'm going to update my status and put in any notes. So maybe we change this to bid submitted or pending bid results. Let's put in a note, submitted on 3/28. And it's going to update in my pipeline here. So we covered a lot here. I could spend all day showing you every nook and cranny, But that's sort of the basics of where we help our customers and a lot of the use in Stack. Certainly encourage booking a time to go through a one-on-one where we can show you how it'll fit your business specifically. But that's what I wanted to show you today. And so I'll open up for any questions you guys have.
Joe, any questions?
Yes, sorry about that. Had to find the unmute button. Quick question. So we're a GC. So we do some of our stuff in the field. So we do some smaller takeoffs. But we use Pipeline for sending out bid invites, Pipeline Suite, which I saw that was one of your SaaS partners. Do you guys have the ability to send out bid invites and things like that as well and have a plan room, or is that not a capability that you guys have?
So I would be hesitant to say we would ever, or that we're going to replace your Pipeline Suite or your True Bid Board. Where we can help is if you're down to a handful of subs and you want to get an invite out and you want to see a takeoff in Stack, if you turn this link on, anyone you give that to will be able to do unlimited takeoffs on this project, and they could get it back to you. But we're not going to have a bid level system or anything like that at this point.
Yeah, we're actually a partner with Pipeline Suite, so we'll take the invitations from Pipeline and put those into our system.
You say you take the invitations from Pipeline and put them into your system?
The documents that Pipeline is managing as part of their invites.
Okay, so the documents that we would upload in the Pipeline would automatically show up.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Yep, we have integration with a number of the project news sites like Pipeline, Dodge, people like that.
Sure.
Yeah, good question. What other questions do you have?
Oh, I think that's really it. Like I said, we don't do a whole lot of takeoffs. We do some, and we typically just do them in Bluebeam and then export them or send them to Excel and then plug and copy and paste where we need to in our Excel sheet file that we use for bidding. But
Sure.
and that usually there's a few extra steps for that process, but it usually serves the purpose we need to. I guess where I could see something like this being useful is if we have to take off a full job and apply budgetary pricing without getting any subs involved, like the CMR job or something like that.
Sure.
Or something
Yeah.
like this would be a little more useful at that point.
Yeah, and I would say our use case for general contractors is going to depend contractor to contractor. We've got some guys that they like doing the takeoff on everything and plugging a unit price just to keep their subs honest. And then we've got some guys that'll go in and actually bid it like a sub. So you wouldn't be alone there. There's a lot of ways I think you could utilize it.
Yeah, really depends on time for us. With what we have time to take off, unfortunately.
Sure. And, I know the existing Excel sheets, those are hard to replace. Excel's a hell of a tool. But I think where we help a lot of people is we get you in, you start using it for quick measurements and takeoffs. And then over time, you'll maybe build out your rates or import those with your success manager and maybe take it one step at a time. But definitely something where we like to think we could replicate your Excel.
Sure. I'm somewhat familiar with Stack. I think it was called something different. I actually used it in college I went to college late, so it was 2015. I think it was called something different. Cloud takeoff or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you've been around the block. You're aging yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I used it for a college course.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, well, our CEO, Phil, it was originally Cloud Takeoff. He and his son, Justin, started it. I'll have to tell him that. He'll get a kick out of it.
That's the only questions I had, John, at the moment.
Excellent. Well, Joe, we appreciate you jumping on. And for those of you who are watching this recorded event, I want to thank the folks from Stack, David and Jack. Great presentation. You've got a product that definitely helps our industry improve efficiencies. And that's what it's all about these days. We're never going to find ready-made people, so we have to make the people that we have work more efficiently. And so the sponsors of this event, the ABC Tech Alliance, of which Stack is a part of, is designed specifically to do that. We vet out these programs, ones that really are effective for our industry, and we put them in the hands of our contractors. So I'll be looking forward to working with you, David and Jack, for many more years to come. And thanks everybody for jumping on this webinar today. With that, we are going to finish the March 2023 webinar. Our next webinar on Tech Tuesday is April 25th. Hope to see you all then. Thank you.